Hey, what's up? It's another video. So I'm making at least a couple dozen of these, and the reason why is because I'm launching a website and I'm gonna do like a campaign kind of blitz to advertise my guitar lessons here in my new studio. So I want to have like, a couple dozen of these videos to refer my students to. This one's about criticism. Critics are wrong 100% of the time, every time. Criticism today, especially today, is born, lives, and dies on the internet. It never makes it to the real world. And I know because I live in the real world. I perform and play with multiple bands, and I've done this for years. And the reason I'm mentioning that is to say, my experience is when you're out there playing music, you get humble. I don't have a bad thing to say about any guitar player on earth. Go play guitar, have fun. So what's inspiring me to make this video is two things. One of them is I teach this to my students to give them confidence when they face criticism online. To remind them, ease their minds that criticism lives and dies there. The other reason I'm mentioning this in this video is that I'm obviously having a lot of conversations with strangers and friends about Zakk Wylde and the Pantera tribute thing. So the criticism for Zakk is people want Zakk to play Dime's riffs verbatim. And what people don't understand who don't play all the time or just don't really have a concept of this maybe is you can't, it's impossible. It's impossible. You're trying to literally channel someone's spirit. So it's kind of like eating a burger from some restaurant you love. Like let's say In-N-Out Burger. And you're like, oh man, this is great. I'm gonna go home and try to make this. You'll never get it. You might come really, really, really close, but after a few bites, you'll know it's not In-N-Out Burger. When I was 14 years old, man, like I played a Jimi Hendrix song and I learned it. And I was like, man, this don't sound nothing like Jimi, obviously. Why don't I sound like Jimi? These are the chords, because that's how nuanced it really is. That's how hard it is. Which to me just means you gotta be yourself. Because that's the only way you're gonna be at your potential. You're gonna be the best version of yourself if you are yourself. Now here's a little story. When I was learning theory, I was learning music theory with a good friend of mine, and we took private instructions from a professor, and like my buddy always figured everything out before me. And one day, well, first of all, really quick, I was learning a lot of other people's music back then. I had probably only written 2 or 3 of my own songs at this time. I was a brand new songwriter. And at that time, all I did was play other people's stuff. And what would happen, and my buddy and me both noticed this, is I'd spend all day learning a riff, and then the next day at practice, we'd be jamming, and my hand would just go there. It would gravitate towards someone else's stuff. And that's when I decided to stop learning how to play other people's riffs verbatim. That was in 1995. And it's okay to touch on them, like meaning I might breeze past their interval and tease them a little bit in some fashion, but I will never, ever again train my fingers to play someone else's stuff. Because like my buddy said, he's like, yeah, we just kind of sound like that guy. So back to Zakk and Dime. Zakk is gonna be Zakk. Take it or leave it. And I read this interview with, I can't remember his name, one of the players of Sepultura, which I always called Sepultura when I was a kid. He brought up something, and I really appreciated him touching on this. He said basically something to the effect of, I don't see what the big deal is. These are a bunch of friends. They're all family. Even the road crew is Pantera's road crew. These people, Vinny and Dime were brothers to all these people. So what they're doing is just who they are and what they're doing, take it or leave it. And the dude also went on to say, and I really appreciated this too, because he's so right, is he said, if Dime and Vinny were still here, it'd sound different. Doesn't mean it'd be better or worse, but even people who play their own riffs don't play their own riffs verbatim. Like their riffs were a moment in time that was captured on a recording. I always bring up the Jump solo, because David Lee Roth, claimed to some capacity, I guess, that there were multiple tracks cut and spliced to make that solo on Jump. And then Eddie heard it, and he's like, what? I didn't do that. That's the point. Even the solo you hear on Jump isn't the solo on Jump. It was just a moment captured in time. And people are like, oh, how do you do it just like that? You gotta sound just like that. Well, even Eddie can't play it just like that. Another great example before I wrap up here is like we're trying to learn LaGrange by ZZ Top. Even their own drummer struggles playing their own song. So anyway, summary, critics are wrong all the time, every time. Go play guitar, have fun, be yourself. Keep practicing.